A dark February dawn, the invasion of Ukraine. February 24th, 2022, a date etched in the memory of every Ukrainian, a day that changed the course of modern history. The day the world watched in disbelief as Russian forces launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The images of tanks and soldiers advancing, the explosions that echoed throughout the country, all marked the beginning of a devastating conflict. A day that shattered the illusion of peace in Europe. The tranquility that many took for granted was replaced by a sense of vulnerability and fear. The quiet of dawn was broken by the deafening roar of explosions. The once serene sky was filled with smoke and destruction. Cities across Ukraine woke up to the horrific reality of war. Residential buildings and streets were transformed into conflict zones. For many, the first few hours were a blur of shock and disbelief. Incredulous faces and lost gazes reflected the confusion and fear that gripped the population. Families huddled together in fear, unsure of what to do or where to go. Makeshift shelters became temporary havens as the sound of sirens echoed endlessly. The familiar rhythm of daily life was brutally interrupted. Parks and playgrounds stood empty, the streets deserted, and daily routines replaced by uncertainty. The world as they knew it had changed irrevocably. Destruction was visible everywhere and the hope for a peaceful future seemed distant. A nation under siege, life in the shadow of war. The days that followed were a descent into a terrifying new reality. Air raid sirens became a terrifying soundtrack to everyday life. Ukrainians sought shelter underground in basements and subway stations as bombs rained down from the sky. Fear and uncertainty were constant companions.
Yet, amidst the chaos and destruction, a remarkable spirit of resilience emerged. Ordinary citizens became heroes overnight. Doctors and nurses worked tirelessly in overcrowded hospitals, tending to the wounded in unimaginable conditions. Volunteers risked their lives to deliver aid to those trapped in besieged cities.
Exodus, the refugee crisis and the search for sanctuary. The invasion triggered one of the largest humanitarian crises in recent history. Millions of people were affected, and the scale of suffering is hard to comprehend. Millions of Ukrainians were forced to flee their homes, becoming refugees in their own country or seeking safety beyond its borders. Roads became clogged with desperate people carrying what they could. Families were torn apart, their lives turned upside down in a matter of days. Many became separated, unsure when or if they would ever be reunited.
Mothers carried their children across borders, their faces etched with exhaustion and worry. Every step was a struggle, but the hope for a safe future kept them moving. Elderly couples, their life's possessions reduced to a single suitcase, embarked on arduous journeys to an uncertain future. The resilience of these individuals is a testament to the strength of the human spirit in times of adversity.
The world watched in awe as neighboring countries opened their hearts and homes, offering refuge to those displaced by the conflict. Volunteers and ordinary citizens came together to provide food, shelter, and comfort, showing that humanity can shine through even in the darkest of times.
The world reacts. Global consequences of the conflict. The invasion of Ukraine sent shockwaves far beyond its borders. The conflict reverberated across the globe, triggering a chain reaction of economic and political consequences. The world condemned the aggression, imposing sanctions on Russia and providing military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine.
The war disrupted global supply chains, leading to soaring energy prices and food shortages. The conflict also exacerbated existing geopolitical tensions, deepening the divides between Russia and the West.
Echoes of solidarity, international aid and support. In the face of immense suffering, the international community responded with an outpouring of support.
Governments, organizations, and individuals rallied to provide humanitarian assistance to Ukraine.
Essential supplies, medical equipment, and financial assistance flowed into the country, a testament to the global spirit of solidarity.
Volunteers from all corners of the world traveled to Ukraine and neighboring countries, offering their skills and compassion to those in need.
The crisis sparked a global movement of empathy and action, reminding us of the interconnectedness of humanity.
Defiance in the rubble, the Ukrainian spirit of resistance. Despite facing a formidable enemy, the Ukrainian people refused to be broken. From the besieged city of Mariupol to the streets of Kiev, acts of resistance became a powerful symbol of defiance.
Ordinary citizens took up arms, determined to defend their homeland. Artists used their creativity as a weapon, painting murals of hope and resistance on bombed-out buildings. Musicians continued to perform, their music a defiant anthem of resilience. The spirit of Ukraine, unbroken and unyielding, became a beacon of hope in the face of darkness.
Seeds of hope, stories of courage and compassion. Amidst the sorrow and devastation, stories of courage and compassion emerged, offering glimmers of hope.
There were stories of soldiers risking their lives to rescue civilians trapped under rubble. Doctors and nurses working tirelessly to save lives, often without adequate supplies.
Ordinary citizens sharing their food and shelter with those who had lost everything. These acts of kindness, both big and small, served as a powerful reminder of the indomitable human spirit, even in the darkest of times.
The long road to reconstruction, a future yet unwritten. As the war in Ukraine enters its second year, the path ahead remains uncertain. The human cost of the conflict is immeasurable, with countless lives lost and futures shattered. The physical damage is staggering, with cities reduced to rubble and infrastructure destroyed. Yet, amidst the ruins, there are flickers of hope. Reconstruction plans are being drawn up, fueled by the determination of the Ukrainian people to rebuild their lives and their country. The international community has pledged its support, promising to stand by Ukraine on the long and arduous journey towards recovery. Towards a more peaceful dawn, lessons from the tragedy. The war in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace, showing how quickly stability can be shattered and the devastating consequences of conflict, which leave deep scars on communities and the souls of people. It is a tragedy that has shaken the world, echoing across borders and touching hearts on every continent, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths about our collective humanity and the urgent need for change. Yet it is also a story of resilience, where the strength of the human spirit shines through, courage, and the power of the human spirit to resist even in the face of unimaginable suffering, inspiring the world with their determination.
As we move forward, we must carry the lessons of this tragedy in our hearts. The importance of diplomacy, the need for constant dialogue, and the urgency of finding peaceful solutions to international disputes, preventing such horrors from ever happening again. The war in Ukraine is a call to action, a plea for all of us to engage in the pursuit of peace, a reminder that we must never take peace for granted, for it is fragile and needs to be nurtured daily, and that we must always strive to build a more just and peaceful world for all, where every individual can live without fear and with dignity.